Hi everyone, and welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We got a brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. My name is Daniel, and if you had asked me a year ago, I would have told you I had a great marriage. I believed in us, and I thought we were solid. For the last few years, my focus has been on building our future. I had a business that was finally taking off, and I was expanding it to new cities. That meant a lot of travel, sometimes days, sometimes weeks at a time. But I did it for us. I thought it was worth it. But life has a funny way of knocking you flat on your back just when you think everything is going according to plan. The day my world fell apart, the truth came to me on its own. And when it did, it hit me harder than I ever thought possible. I was away on a trip, and it has been going well. Business meetings were productive. Deals were being finalized. And I was already thinking of coming home to spend time with my beautiful wife. I was exhausted but satisfied, knowing that every long hour I put into this business was meant to secure a better future. Then my phone rang that afternoon. It was Mark, a longtime friend, but his voice sounded different, hesitant, uneasy. But then he spoke, and everything changed. "Daniel, listen, man, I wasn't sure if I should even call you. But I can't keep this to myself. I just saw Sophia coming out of a hotel with another man." For a few seconds, I said nothing. My mind struggled to process what I had just heard. Maybe I misheard him. Maybe there was some kind of mistake. But Mark wasn't the type to joke about something like this. "I took photos, Daniel. I didn't know if I should, but I had a bad feeling. I'll send them to you now." A moment later, my phone buzzed. My fingers felt stiff as I opened the message. And there it was, Sophia, my wife, stepping out of a hotel lobby. She wasn't alone. Some guy was right beside her. I still didn't react. I didn't call to yell at her. I just stood there, staring at the images on my screen. The truth was staring me in the face, but part of me still wanted to believe there was another explanation. "Danny, you there?" Mark's voice pulled me back. "Yeah, I'm here," I answered, forcing myself to sound calm. "Man, I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, but you needed to know." I nodded to myself, though he couldn't see me. I wasn't angry at Mark. If anything, I was grateful. He didn't know me this, but he did it anyway. And deep down, I knew he was right. I needed to know. But now that I did, what the hell was I supposed to do with it? I got back earlier than planned. I didn't call ahead and didn't send a text. Just walked through the front door. Sophia was in the kitchen, humming softly and chopping vegetables. She turned, saw me, and smiled. "How was your trip?" Her voice was light. I forced myself to stay calm. I gave her a nod, pretending everything was normal, answering her casually. I watched her move around the kitchen. I let her talk, waiting for the right moment. Then, when she least expected it, I said it. "Unlock your phone." The room fell silent. The air grew thick, heavy with unspoken tension. Her smile faltered, but she recovered quickly, forcing out a small laugh. "What? Why?" She tried to make it sound playful, but I saw the way her fingers twitched. I didn't answer, just looked at her, waiting, watching. She shook her head. "Daniel, come on, this is ridiculous." "Unlock it." My voice was calm and steady. No anger, just a demand. She crossed her arms, forcing out another nervous laugh. "You don't trust me? After all these years?" I didn't argue. I reached over, grabbed her phone, and held it up between us. Her face drained of color. "Unlock it now, or I swear, I'm walking out that door and never looking back." For a moment, she didn't move. She stared at me, searching for an escape. But there wasn't one. She knew it. I knew it. Her hands trembled as she took the phone from me, her fingers hesitating over the screen. Then, finally, she gave in. The lock screen disappeared. The first thing I saw was a string of unread messages, some from a saved contact, others from an unknown number. I clicked one, then another, then another. It was all there. Explicit texts, photos, videos. Things I never imagined my wife sending to another man. The heartbreaking part is that my wife sometimes sends me photos of herself. Some of them explicitly remind me of what I have at home. I found out she also sent them to this other man. I scrolled through hotel reservations, late-night chats, and messages about meeting up while I was away working. Detailed conversations about me. How she thought I was too busy, too distracted with my business to notice anything. How she could do what she wanted because I trusted her too much. The words blurred for a second, but I didn't stop reading. I sat down because I needed to see it all, to know exactly who she was when I wasn't looking. Sophia collapsed onto the couch, sobbing, clutching her face as she cried, as if the guilt was suddenly too much to bear. "I'm sorry. I was lonely. You're never home, Daniel. I just. Her words came out in gasps, broken between sobs. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I love you. Please, just let me explain." But I didn't react the way she expected. Without a word, I took screenshots and transferred the files to myself. Then, just as calmly as I had asked her to unlock the phone, I set it back on the table. I met her tear-filled gaze, my voice colder than I had ever heard it. "I don't need to hear your excuses." Then I stood up, walked past her shaking frame, entered our bedroom and started packing some of the things I didn't pick along for the previous trip. My clothes, my documents, everything important, everything I needed to walk out that door and never look back. I moved into a temporary apartment, blocked her number, and cut off all contact. If she had anything to say, she could say it through my lawyer. I called my lawyer to file the divorce papers. Immediately. And that was the difference between us. She acted on impulse, driven by selfishness and recklessness. I acted with purpose, with clarity. Everything was handled through legal channels. I refused to sit across from her in some meeting, pretending there was anything left to talk about. My lawyer was clear. No mediation, no drawn-out, emotional manipulation, no unnecessary discussions. Just a clean break. And, for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The pain didn't disappear overnight. I didn't wake up the next morning suddenly free of everything I had just lost. But I had a choice: sit in my misery, or turn it into something useful. I chose the latter. I threw myself into my business, with a relentless focus. The expansion I had planned, I made it happen, and I did it fast. I didn't just move cities. I rebranded my entire life. Day by day, the weight of what happened lessened. I wasn't healing because of time. I was healing because I chose to. Months passed, and I looked in the mirror one morning and barely recognized the man staring back at me. Stronger, smarter, wealthier. By then, the divorce was almost concluded. It took long because she wanted more than I was willing to give. And the best part? I didn't feel anything for her anymore. No anger. No sadness. No love. Just indifference. And indifference, my friends, is the best revenge of all. After months of silence, rebuilding my life from the ground up in another city, and finally learning how to breathe without the weight of betrayal crushing my chest, she came back. It was late, well past dinner. I had just wrapped up work, already looking forward to a hot shower and some sleep, when I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. For a second I considered ignoring it, but something in me said to check. So, I pulled open the door and there she was. Sophia. She stood there in the dim porch light, eyes red-rimmed and swollen, tears streaking her face. But that wasn't what threw me off. It was her stomach. Round, heavy, pregnant. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. I just stared, my mind blank, my body frozen. And then she broke down completely. Through sobs and hiccups, she told me she had made a mistake. That she had spent months crying herself to sleep, haunted by guilt, missing me, wishing she could take everything back. She swore she never stopped loving me. She was so lost and confused that she let loneliness push her into making stupid choices. And then, the final blow. "Daniel, this is your baby." She said it like a lifeline, like she truly believed those words would pull me back to her. She wanted another chance. She wanted us to be a family again. She promised that this time she would be faithful, that she had changed. I stood there, listening, watching, and for a brief second, I almost felt sorry for her. But then I reminded myself why she was standing here in the first place. She wasn't here because she loved me. She wasn't here because she regretted hurting me. She was here because she needed something. I let her finish. Let her pour out every apology, every promise, every carefully crafted line meant to pull at my heartstrings. And when she finally stopped, looking up at me with hopeful, teary eyes, I simply nodded and said, "All right, let's get a DNA test." The second those words left my mouth, her entire face changed. The tears stopped. The panic set in. "What?" She let out a nervous laugh, shaking her head. "Daniel, how could you even ask me that? You think I would lie about something like this?" I didn't answer. I just looked at her, waiting. She kept talking, accusing me of being cruel, saying I was punishing her for the past, that I should trust her, that I had always trusted her before, that asking for a test was an insult, an attack, proof that I never really loved her in the first place. And right then and there, I knew. I saw right through her. If she had nothing to hide, she wouldn't be so afraid. If she was certain this child was mine, she would have agreed in an instant. But she didn't. She fought it. I took a deep breath, stepped back, and rested my hand on the door. "If you won't take the test," I said, my voice calm, "I have nothing to say to you." And then, without waiting for another word, I closed the door in her face. I thought I had seen the worst of Sophia's deceit, but I was wrong. Months after I sent her away, after I made it clear that I wanted nothing to do with her or her so-called pregnancy, she decided to take things even further. Out of nowhere, I was served with a lawsuit. She was taking me to court, claiming that I was abandoning my child, the same child she had refused to take a DNA test for. The irony wasn't lost on me. Sophia painted herself as the ultimate victim. She told the court how I had cruelly walked out on her when she needed me the most, how I had refused to take responsibility, leaving her to suffer. It was a well-crafted sob story, I'll give her that. She cried, she sniffled, and she played her part perfectly. To someone who didn't know better, she looked like a woman who had been betrayed, a woman who had loved too deeply and been abandoned by the man she trusted. But there was one problem: she was lying. What she didn't realize was that I was no longer the man she had once manipulated. I had the money, the resources, and most importantly, the will to fight back. So I did what any man in my position would do. I hired the best lawyers in the city. These weren't just any lawyers. These were professionals who had built their careers on tearing apart manipulative spouses in court. And Sophia? She was just another case for them. The trial was brutal. My legal team wasted no time dismantling her entire case. They brought out every piece of evidence: her affairs, her refusal to take the DNA test, her blatant attempts at extortion. They exposed how she had tried to manipulate the legal system, twisting the narrative to make herself look like the victim when in reality, she had been the one who destroyed our marriage. Every lie she told was countered with hard facts. Every dramatic performance was met with undeniable truth. By the time my lawyers were done, there was no doubt about who Sophia really was. The courtroom that had once been filled with sympathetic whispers about the abandoned pregnant woman was now filled with hushed murmurs about her deceit. She had no defense, no way to justify her actions. She had come to court hoping to ruin me, but in the end, she had only ruined herself. The judge didn't just rule in my favor, he went a step further. A cease and desist order was issued against her, forbidding her from contacting me in any way. She had lost publicly, and there was no coming back from this. As I walked out of that courtroom, I reflected on everything. I had once pitied her when she came to my doorstep, pleading for another chance. But after everything she had done, after all the lies, the manipulation, and the sheer audacity to take me to court over a child she wouldn't even prove was mine, I was just glad I never let her back into my life. At the end of the day, this whole experience taught me one thing. Never let guilt or manipulation make you question your worth. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I ignored the warning signs, I trusted blindly, and I paid the price. But when I finally walked away, I didn't look back. And that was the best decision I ever made. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, where someone is trying to guilt trip you, manipulate you, or use their own mistakes to make you feel responsible, stand your ground. Protect yourself. Because some people don't come back out of love, they come back out of desperation. And if you let them in, they'll destroy you all over again. But what do you guys think? If you were in my position, would you have handled it the same way? Or do you think I should have given her another chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. It really helps out the channel and keeps the content coming. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.